Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na serikali ya Kenya.
Well, good evening and thank you for joining us for Channel 1 Weekend with me, Richard Munga. And as always, we have a lot in store for you. But before we get into most of that, let's do the usual, which is look, or rather track the number of infections currently in the country. And, well, in regards to the numbers, the recoveries and all that. And as you can see on the screen behind me on the COVID-19 status update, the number of tests that were carried out in the last 24 hours are 2,820. The confirmed cases, of course, from today's announcement is 104 cases. And at least some good news, recoveries at 36, that was today. And unfortunately, 2 lives were lost. And well, since the first case was reported, a total of 136,361 tests have been carried out, with the confirmed cases inclusive of today's 104 cases now totaling to 4,478 confirmed cases. And on the recoveries, 1,586. And once again, unfortunately, the total deaths since the first case of the coronavirus here in Kenya was reported, the deaths are totaling 121. Well, now we shall be having more updates in regards to the COVID-19 pandemic and, well, some political news and finally sports news. But before we do all that, let's have a look at the news making headlines tonight.
Supporting mental health remains one of the government's highest priorities. The Ministry of Health and partners are continuing to take action to help Kenyans whose mental health and well-being is being affected by the pandemic.
Focus shifts to mental health as COVID-19 positive cases surged to 4,478, 100 days after the first case was confirmed in the country.
Yesterday, one of our officers who had gone to Mbagathi for COVID testing, he went to collect his results, and when he reached there, was told that he's positive.
Heightened surveillance as 3 police officers from Nairobi County test positive for COVID-19.
Mruhusu kila mtu kufanya vile anavyotaka ama mzuie kila mtu ili sisi sote tufuate sheria.
And security officers on the spot over alleged double standards in enforcing COVID-19 containment measures.
Once again, thank you for choosing KBC Channel 1 Weekend. And our sign language tonight is Byron Abuli. Now to a top story tonight, whereby the Ministry of Health is appealing to Kenyans to seek assistance for mental health in the wake of increased strain during the coronavirus pandemic. The ministry saying the current containment measures have affected the way of life for most Kenyans amid uncertainties, hence the need to take care of those with mental disorders, a vulnerable group that is often neglected. The calls coming as the country recorded 104 positive COVID-19 cases on the 100th day since it recorded its first case.
The coronavirus pandemic has taken a mental and economic toll on many families as a result of the uncertainties associated with the change in the way of life. The obtaining situation prompting the Ministry of Health to enhance its efforts geared towards assisting the vulnerable populations which are often neglected.
The containment measures such as stay at home, physical distancing, and restricted movement directives adversely affect social and mental well-being of healthy individuals by inhibiting social interaction, social connectedness, and engagement in healthy lifestyles.
The Director General in the Ministry of Health, Dr. Patrick Amoth, saying that Kenyans, especially the youth, had embraced the mental assistance offered during this difficult time.
And we gave out a hotline for people to respond to. I have repeated today, I think, the hotlines, which are 1199 and 719.
And surprisingly, it's mostly the young people who have been making calls, and most of the issues that they want to address include anxiety, include gender and domestic violence, and also issues of depression.
100 days since the first coronavirus case was recorded in the country, 104 people have tested positive for the disease, pushing the coronavirus caseload to 4,478. This was after 2,820 samples were tested, with the cumulative number of samples tested to date standing at 136,361.
We have discharged 36 patients from our various hospitals, bringing the total number of recoveries to 1,586. We have also lost 2 more patients to the disease, bringing the total fatality to 121.
Nairobi accounted for 60 cases, Mombasa 33, Kilifi 5, Busia 3, Kajiado 2, while Taita Taveta recorded 1 case. The Ministry of Health is calling on Kenyans not to shy off from seeking assistance, especially on matters mental health, at a time when the coronavirus pandemic has taken a mental and economic toll on many. Nancy Okware, Channel 1 News.
Now, 42 remandees drawn from Central and Kamukunji police stations in Nairobi have been subjected to COVID-19 tests in the wake of revelations that 3 police officers attached to Kamukunji police station had tested positive for the virus. Contact tracing for those who came into contact with the 3 officers is ongoing, with families of the security personnel already in quarantine.
Police have been on the front line enforcing COVID-19 containment measures, with the nature of their duty placing them in danger of exposure to the deadly virus. 3 police officers attached to Kamukunji police station are now among the country's COVID-19 case burden statistics after they contracted the virus, in a development that has left security agents concerned.
Yeah, we are trying to tell our officers to be very careful, especially during arrests. They should not, unless it's a very serious criminal offense, that we can get these people, arrest them.
The Health Ministry applying relevant protocols, subjecting 30 remandees from Central and 12 from Kamukunji Police Station to COVID-19 testing as efforts to contain the spread of the contagion at the 2 facilities kicked off in earnest.
We have taken all the prisoners that we have in the cells to Mbagathi for testing, and we are waiting for the results maybe on Monday or Tuesday.
I think the work that we have been doing together with the Department of Prisons really has been first and foremost to protect those in this closed environment of prison situations.
A police station, be it a health facility, be it state house, the guidelines and protocols are clear and they apply across board. They have also designated isolation and quarantine centers in prisons, because remember, if you get a prisoner, say from industrial area, to take to Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral Hospital, then you require the prison wardens to go and take care, provide security for this individual person.
According to Nairobi Central OCPD Mark Wanjala, the 3 officers have already been placed under quarantine at Kenyatta University and Mbagathi Hospital, with their families already in self-quarantine.
He had to be quarantined at Mbagathi. The other officer is quarantined at KU, and that one had been deployed on contact tracing, and they are based at the CID training school.
The 2 police stations have also been fumigated as authorities move to disinfect the facility in efforts aimed at containing further spread of the virus.
So far, the medical team from Mbagathi are to come and fumigate the Kamkunji police station, and we have also requested that they come and fumigate central police station cells, especially cells also.
The efforts coming even as those in uniform were urged to exercise caution to protect themselves from contracting the disease.
Meanwhile, efforts to caution vulnerable populations from the adverse effects of the coronavirus have intensified across the country, with the national and county governments partnering with stakeholders to advance the cause. In Nyeri County, a charity drive by the Catholic Archdiocese to feed families affected by the COVID-19 pandemic received a major boost following a donation of 10 million shillings from a local company.
Amen.
The initiative, dubbed Hope for You, which is a joint venture between the Diocese of Nyeri and the Diocese of Kitui, was launched 2 months ago with the aim of cushioning families facing economic downturns as a result of the pandemic. Archbishop Anthony Muheria of the Nyeri Catholic Archdiocese says the initiative has raised over 10 million shillings and has reached over 5,200 families with food aid in Nyeri, Kitui and 3 other dioceses in the country since it was launched.
And I think it is a sign that they want to live the solidarity even with the people here in Nyeri and beyond, and to meet and mitigate the problems of our people in Kenya. If you just think about the number of people who can benefit from that, we're speaking about a huge number. We'll be able to most probably support almost another 5,000 families with this particular assistance.
In the meantime, efforts by police officers based at the Central Police Station to enforce the Ministry of Health guidelines on containment of COVID-19 pandemic received a boost Saturday after a Rotary Club of Hurlingham donated sanitizers, gloves and face masks. Club's President Franklin Masinde says the initiative seeks to protect police officers who are always on the front line in ongoing efforts to contain the contagion.
We intend to continue this effort for as long as there's this pandemic, and for as long as our club members are willing and able. We'll come together, pool our resources and support them. Because
we urge other organizations, if they can come out and help us as officers who are on the front line, because we are worried if the coronavirus comes in the station, then the whole station will be quarantined. Then the thieves will have a free day to go around. So we don't want our officers to be infected with the coronavirus.
Elsewhere, the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry is expressing concern over congestion caused by trucks at Kenya's border with Uganda. The chamber, alongside locals residing in the border county of Busia, now wants the national government to fast-track clearing of the said trucks to curb spread of the contagion.
Mass testing is what we are demanding. Let them get the kits wherever they can get them. We in Busia are at risk, and we want to be on the forefront to protect and respect the protocols that have been issued by the health minister.
Beatrice Gatonyangetich, Channel 1 News.
Now, also chaos marred a political gathering that had been organized by a section of political leaders from Western Kenya in Kakamega. Trouble ensued after police forced their way into the home of Malava Member of Parliament, that is Malulu Njendi, who was hosting the meeting, and started ejecting all who were in attendance, leading to a scuffle with lawmakers. Renowned political figures from the region have lamented the treatment, accusing the state of applying double standards in its handling of social distancing directives. Gladys Munga reports.
Drama ensued in the home of Malava legislator Malulu Njendi on Saturday after law enforcement officers disrupted a meeting that was to be graced by a number of leaders from Western Kenya.
Not even allowing. I've just asked you.
According to the police, the meeting was illegal and had been called against the directive banning any form of gathering. But the MPs were defiant, insisting that they had every right to come together and deliberate about issues affecting the region.
Masuala muhimu ya jamii yakiwemo ya kisiasa, hakuna mtu yeyote ambaye
Raila, Uhuru Kenyatta Gideon Moi, Kalonzo Musyoka, and others are rearranging for 2022. In that particular arrangement, iwe kwa headline ya magazeti ama kwa television, amuoni viongozi wenu. Sisi hatuko huko. Hata tukilazimisha kwenda huko, katika hesabu yao, katika fikra zao, we don't count.
Kwa sababu walio tushikana tayari, tumeshikana tu kitu kimoja. Hii ni mkutano ya kupanga vile maneno yatakuwa huko mbele.
They wondered why police disrupted their meeting, whereas some of their colleagues from the region were allowed to gather unrestricted, even in meetings that are political in nature.
Hata mimi nimeshangaa hatukuita wenzangu viongozi kukaa kwa boma yangu, tunazuiliwa. Nimeshangaa.
Unajua tukija pamoja, we have the numbers and we can do it.
Similar scenes were witnessed in Bungoma on Friday, where area Senator Moses Wetangula attempted to host a homecoming rally. This state of affairs coming as a concern to Omani National Congress Party leader Musalia Mudavadi, who is accusing the state of applying double standard in its handling of issues around social distancing.
We have seen what we can simply call discriminatory application of the law when it comes to the COVID guidelines.
According to Mudavadi, the move to disrupt the two meetings was in bad taste given that political players in the country have been holding similar gatherings without much constraint.
The law to protect Kenyans must be enforced equitably, without discrimination. Either deny all or free all. Simple.
Mudavadi reads mischief in the latest happenings, even as he refused to rule out political machinations ahead of the 2022 general elections.
And I also want to emphasize that the people of Western Kenya, me included, have never been disloyal to President Uhuru Kenyatta. We therefore find it strange that there is heightened activity around Western Kenya and in Western Kenya in a discriminatory manner or fashion to try and give the impression that Western Kenya is disloyal to President Uhuru Kenyatta.
He accuses unnamed state functionaries of attempts to drive a wedge between leaders from Western Kenya and President Uhuru Kenyatta's regime. For Channel 1 News, I'm Gladys Mungai.
Indeed, the more things change, the more they are the same. Now, moving on, Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha has challenged parents to spend time with their children and offer guidance and counseling to the teenagers. Speaking in Nyandarua County, in the wake of news of increased cases of teenage pregnancies, Magoha said he was lobbying to have pornographic sites blocked in Kenya, as well as enhanced family planning.
Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha was in Nyandarua County to inspect the ongoing upgrading of Nyandarua Institute of Science and Technology to a fully fledged national polytechnic. Magoha's visit coming in the wake of reports by an non-governmental organization indicating a rise in cases of teenage pregnancies, particularly during the COVID-19 pandemic season.
Because I fail to understand why, when you are looking at a girl who is 10 or 11 years, why should you be thinking about sex? The brain is not down there. The brain is up here. So it's a problem that you yourself have to help us to solve. Until we respect a female is not a sex object.
Professor Magoha imploring on parents to take control of their children by spending time with them. The Education CS disclosed he was lobbying the government to lock out pornographic materials from being accessed in Kenya.
One of the things I'm going to crusade, if I'm still in this ministry, is one, let us do family planning so that you have fewer children to worry about. Two, can we lobby the legislative arm of government through His Excellency and the cabinet so that the pornographic channels are blocked in our country because they are not useful that is not just providing money and food, but spend time and give the children wisdom, to tell them that the body belongs to them, is their own temple, and nobody has the power to touch that body without his or her consent.
A survey by the Kenya Health Information Systems show that about 4,000 girls aged 19 and below were reported pregnant in Machakos County between January and May. The government has, however, dismissed the report that shows numbers in other counties were equally grim. Kevin Washira, Channel 1 News.
Well, now moving on to Migori, whereby 3 people have died during a mining expedition in Owiro, Nyatike, Migori County. According to eyewitnesses, one of the victims was pumping water into the mines before he was overwhelmed, prompting action from his 2 colleagues who went in to rescue him. The mission, however, turned tragic and they did not make it out as they were trapped inside and choked to death. The walls of the mines later collapsed, but 5 others who were inside at the time came out alive.
Room to rescue team, which went down and they did the much they could. So we rescued the others, they rescued the others, but 3 were confirmed dead.
1:30 I received a call from one of my members that one of the shafts around had collapsed. I rushed there. What I can confirm as at now is that it happened, the shaft collapsed. 3 were actually trapped in the shaft.
Now, that story takes us to a fast break, but always remember that for more news, everything you've seen and more, always remember to log on to our website. That is www.kbc.co.ke. And you can also follow us on our YouTube channel at KBC Channel 1. And in regards to more interviews that are done here, you can also find them on the other YouTube page, that is KBC Channel 1 TV shows. Well, don't go too far. We'll be back after the short break with more news.
Elgon Thabiti Fertilizers, the Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock, Fisheries, Cooperatives and partners of the National Farmers Awards congratulate our 2019 winners. The Best Women in Agriculture, Farmer Beth Wairimu Kinuthia. Congratulations. Caroline Mukuhi Mwangi, the Youth in Agriculture Champion. We honor you. Tops in Floriculture, Oserian Development Company and Equinax Horticulture. We are proud of you. To all the winners, we celebrate your valued efforts in feeding the nation and wealth creation. You are our soil heroes.
The jury has decided. The Kenya Film Commission is delighted to announce that the shortlisted 20 nominees for the 3rd edition of My Kenya, My Story mobile phone film competition are out. The public voting process is now open through the Commission's website, www.kenyafilmcommission.com. Voting kicks off from the 17th June to 26th June 2020. Vote and get to know who scoops the top prize of 200,000 Kenya shillings during the award ceremony slated for 30th June 2020. Kenya Film Commission. Film Kenya. Capture Africa.
Juzi mimi ninakuja, ninatoka nje, ninawacha simu hapo, nikirudi kutoka raundi napata 4 missed call ya kutoka kwa bibi. Nikimuuliza ulikuwa unapiga unasema nini? Ananiambia eti alikuwa ananipigia, aniambie nimesahau simu.
Kupata missed call, bonyeza *811 *967 bonyeza *811
Kumbe bibi ananipenda.
On the next episode of Corner.
Ya muhimu kwanza ni kujua hali yako ya status ya HIV.
It's interesting that homeschooling is now a byword, but I have homeschooled for a number of years, and I am an educationist.
We decided we will homeschool. When we start a family and get children, we said this is something we'd like to do. And that's what we did.
even that curriculum matters. What you're teaching the children matters because it's forming their worldview, how you're approaching the lessons.
I am grateful that our society and God has provided opportunities for those who want to pursue things like homeschooling to do it.
Love bila gloves haiwezi. Rieni kujua.
Afya bora, maisha bora. Jipime, jiinue. This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
Bahasha nimepewa na governor niwalete. Basi ile kuichukua akanipiga nayo ya uso.
Hariri huyu.
Sitaki vitu vya governor mimi na
Umekuwa wapi? Mimi nilikufikiria hata pia umetuacha kama mama.
Kama mtu yote ataandika story yote, itabidi tufuatilie huyo mtu.
Wacha niende huko kijijini kwao. Niende nikazungumze naye kwa kiini ndimuulize.
Welcome back to Channel 1 Weekend. Now, it was a huge relief for a number of Kenyans who jetted back into the country after months in Ethiopia. The repatriation of these citizens who were stranded in Addis Ababa due to the suspension of flights jetted back home aboard 2 Kenya Air Force flights that had been dispatched to evacuate them by the state, rather.
Ever since the outbreak of coronavirus pandemic, a number of Kenyan citizens have been forced to spend their time away from their loved ones. While majority of those stranded abroad have made their way back, many others are still stranded in different parts of the world. But it appears the state is working round the clock to ensure that everyone who wants to travel back home is facilitated. This was the case when the state dispatched 2 Kenya Air Force Spartan aircrafts to airlift Kenyans from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia on Friday. Those who benefited from the flights back home could not hide their joy of being reunited with their loved ones.
We have been there since January this year, and I'm a teacher there. So when the corona situation came in, we got stuck there because actually we were teaching from home, and then after some time, like we had the semesters or the quarters were ended, and we were just there and stuck. When we saw the Kenyan Air Force plane, we were so delighted. We didn't know it would get to this extent. Actually, I don't have even words to express how delighted I am. I'm so glad that I'm home.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Kenya Air Force for what they have done, helping us move from Addis Ababa up till here in Nairobi. And we really appreciate for the government that has really put all that into effect to help us move that quite a distance.
Last month, the government arranged numerous Kenya Airways flights to bring back hundreds of Kenyans who were stranded in various parts of the world. Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Jackie Wamburu.
To more news, the process of repossession of all irregularly acquired land in the city of Nairobi now appears to be gathering momentum. This is after the Nairobi Metropolitan Services disclosed that it has identified a good number of parcels of public land that have been encroached by individuals, but vowed to get them back to the government's hands in the next few days. According to NMS Director General Major General Mohammed Badi, the properties in question will be utilized for development purposes to benefit city residents.
The newly established Nairobi Metropolitan Services says the ongoing recovery of all grabbed public property in Nairobi will be sustained in the next few days. The Nairobi Metropolitan Services Director General Mohammed Abadi says the repossession will pave way for development projects in the county for the benefits of all Nairobi residents.
Usikue na wasiwasi. Wale wote waliiba ardhi ya county itarudi na hapo ndio mtaenda.
Speaking during the inspection of Kazim Tani projects in the county, Badi further urged city residents to join hands with the government to promote development, as well as eliminate incidences of insecurity such as robbery and other crimes that disrupt peace in the capital. Badi also disclosed that the government is in the process of constructing stalls for traders who have been operating in some of the areas that have been fenced off from the public.
Ile ahadi niliwapea kutengeza hii barabara sio kuwavunjia biashara yenu. Kwa hivyo hii barabara ikiisha, mechanics na wafanyi biashara, tutawajengea makao yenu, tutawajengea mahali yenu ya kutengeza magari. Wenye kufanya biashara tutawajengea stores zao, wenye chakula tutawajengea stores zao.
While lauding the energy injected into development of the capital, Ministry of Public Service and Gender Chief Administrative Secretary Richard Shebesh also put on notice water cartels operating in Nairobi, warning that their days are numbered.
Pia mambo ya maji Nairobi inatusumbua mpaka saa hii, na tunafanya hiyo kazi kuangalia maji itoke kwa cartel irudi kwa mifereji.
Shebesh further disclosed plans to aid street children who are currently engaged in various activities in the capital. The Kazi Mtaani program aims at engaging the youth with activities that will uplift hygiene standards of their estates and at the same time use the stipend given to put food on their table. Caroline Kamar reporting for Channel 1 News.
To some environmental matters now, where the government is concentrating the current tree planting campaigns on areas that have registered high levels of forest degradation. The Ministry of Environment, through the Kenya Forest Services, says it is keen to increase the area and forest cover using the Green Zones Development Support Project. Under this initiative, the stakeholders are confident that the country will attain an additional 3% forest cover by the end of the year. Emily K. Bade reports.
The government's quest to achieve a 10% forest cover appears well on course, following the commissioning of Phase 2 of the Green Zones Development Support Project. Under the program, the counties that have recorded astronomical levels of forest degradation and social, economic and environmental vulnerability will experience increased activity of tree planting spearheaded by the state.
The project, which will be implemented in 15 counties, around 3 water towers of the Mau, Mount Kenya and Aberdares, will focus on forest conservation, community livelihood and food security, all of which are critical in fulfilling the country's quest of being climate change resilient.
To further aid this drive and reduce mobility hiccups, the Ministry of Environment has flagged off 26 unit pickups bought with the support from the Africa Development Bank.
The project will renew the aging fleet of vehicles as exemplified today with the commissioning of the first batch of 26 double cabin vehicles. I'm informed that in the near future, more investments will be made in procuring additional vehicles for the project.
The current campaign, according to KFS Chairman Peter Kinyua, also targets rehabilitation of areas under trees in urban areas to ensure preservation of outdoor recreational facilities.
The forest area we are in today, Mitoni Forest Block, is one of the few urban forests in Nairobi, and it is critical for the provision of environmental goods and services. The block, which has 2 dams and a seasonal Mitoni River, is a key outdoor recreation facility for local residents.
The initiative has earned the support of major stakeholders in the sector, who hold the view that the project will fast-track realization of the required forest acreage amid calls for Kenyans to play an active role in the ongoing tree planting campaigns.
Therefore, it's a project which actually come and appreciate the Big Four agenda. The uniqueness of this project, Waziri, is that beyond the forest conservation and management, we appreciate the role that the forest adjacent communities do. If we don't support their livelihood improvement, if you don't ensure that they are secure in their food supplies, then they will come to forest to be able to get their livelihood. I would want to thank everyone and ask all Kenyans of goodwill to come and join our spirit of Kenya Forest Service to be able to protect our resources, but more so plant and grow more tree within the public and the farmland, because that's the only way we can be able to achieve the directive of the President by 2022 to have attained 10% tree cover.
I'm very happy that there's good progress, especially in this Green Zones project. This project, Green Zones, is one of the 55 projects in our ministry. And we know that mobility of our staff is key. We have given a lot of work to KFS. They have been around supporting us in ensuring that we green the city. My colleagues or principal secretaries have been around here planting trees here and there. And we want to thank the CCF for making sure that this work has gone on smoothly. And next week we have rolled out many other planting activities, And we thank the team from KFS for organizing.
For Channel 1 News, I am Emily K. Buddy.
Also, a group of young women from Narok County have joined hands to set up an income-generating business as part of efforts to empower the Maasai girl. Dubbed Selengi Ma, meaning Maasai girls, the 50 girls have opened up a shoe-shining business in Narok town. According to 2019 Kenya National Census report, at least 39% of Kenyan youths are unemployed. At the heart of Narok town, it is a busy morning for this group of young women. The group, dubbed Selengi Emma, which means Maasai girls, has 50 girls who have opened up a shoe-shining business in Narok town. According to the group's chairlady, Grace Nakola, the business entity was born out of necessity as the girls lacked white-collar jobs, thus sought a different means of earning a living.
Wakati niliona hii project, mimi niliona kwa simu na nikaona ni project ambaye iko na faida kwa vijana. Kwa sababu unakuta kama kiosk moja kama hii inaajiri wasichana 4. Unakuta ingine kama ile iko pale inaajiri wasichana 4. Tukaona ya kwamba tukiweza weka kiosk kama hizi kadhaa katika town yetu, unakuta kwa hiyo group ya wasichana hao wote watapata kazi.
Nakola saying the venture was life-changing, adding that it was paramount to find a means of earning a living as most of the girls dropped out of school for lack of school fees or early pregnancies, a situation that made them dependent.
Siku hizi tunasoma hatupati kazi, unakuta wengine wanaenda shule wanakosa fees, wanatoka kukaa nyumbani. Tukakutana tukiwa wasichana 50, tukajadiliana, tukatengeneza kikundi inaitwa Selengenema, tukakuja na hii project inaitwa Shushain. Tukaona ni kitu haitatugharimu sana, tunawezana nayo.
Kitu mzuri wasichana kutoa ile, unajua kuna kwa ile kitu inaitwa Silekwi, wao wameachana na hiyo, wameamua kufanya kazi ni kazi, na hii ni kazi mzuri, na tunashukuru sana wale vijana wenye wako pale vijijini. Wengine wanasura kwa hii mtaa wa Narok, hawana kazi, wanakaa wanaingia kwa madawa. Hii sasa ni good example. Hawa wasichana sasa ni role models, manake sasa wamekuwa role models.
Nakola attributed their success to the county government of Narok, urging other youths to take advantage of job opportunities in the area. This, even as they called on the government to support the youth by offering discounted loans to start business ventures.
Wako kwa manyumba, waliacha makazi kwa mahoteli, lakini sasa sisi wakati tumeanza hii tunajua hata sisi jioni unaenda na unga yako kwa
Narok. Hawa ni watoto wetu, wamemaliza shule, hawajapata kazi. Mimi nataka niwahimize at least wa support, manaka hatuwezi kuwa na viongozi ambao wasaidii.
Indeed, quite inspiring, quite the interesting story right there. Now, the COVID-19 pandemic has provoked social stigma and discriminatory behaviors against sections of the society, as well as those perceived to have been in contact with the virus. The obtaining situation has negatively affected those who have contracted the disease, their families, as well as our health workers who usually interact with positive cases in their line of duty. The development acting to compromise ongoing government's efforts to contain the spread of the pandemic at a time when confirmed cases are surged. But how best do we address stigma for COVID-19 patients at the community level? Well, let's find out.
We have noticed the issue of stigma in the community. So at the Division of Community Health Services, we have come up with guidelines to address the issue of stigma, because it's out of stigma that we have seen people evade testing. We have seen people run away from corner sites because of the fear surrounding COVID-19. So the guidelines are giving out facts about COVID-19 and educating people not to stigmatize individuals who are once positive with COVID but have turned negative. They are no longer infectious, so there's no point anyone running away from them. And so communities and families are urged to still receive back their family members who once tested positive but have undergone treatment and they have turned negative, and they are released back to the society, the community. They should not be desegregated, they should not be stigmatized against. And that's what we are doing as the Ministry of Health.
Now, World Health Organization Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus has warned that the global coronavirus pandemic is yet to ease, with over 100,000 new cases reported in just a single day. At least 8.8 million people have been confirmed to have contracted coronavirus around the world, with over 4.6 million having recovered, according to data compiled by Johns Hopkins University.
As the world struggles to deal with the new normal, World Health Organization Director General Tedros Adhanom is warning that the world is in a new and dangerous phase, with the virus still spreading fast. This comes after over 150,000 new cases were reported globally on Thursday, the highest in a single day. Meanwhile, Pope Francis held his first audience for a group of people since Italy lifted its coronavirus lockdown, granting it to health workers from the Italian region most affected by the pandemic. The development coming as Brazil surpassed the 1 million coronavirus cases mark and approached 50,000 deaths in a new record for the world's second worst hit country. This as Mexico City delayed a planned reopening of businesses until coronavirus infections drop as cases continue to surge. And China's capital Beijing recorded a further drop in new confirmed coronavirus cases as tightened measures to contain the spread remain in place. A limited nationwide lockdown started in Turkey in an effort to contain the spread of coronavirus during high school entry exams for 1.6 million students. Costa Rica, in the meantime, is halting the reopening of its economy after registering a record 119 new coronavirus infections on Friday, a figure that brings the country's total number of cases to 2,508. At least 12 people have died from COVID-19 in Costa Rica. Elsewhere, the United Kingdom government will announce in the coming days whether it will reduce its 2-meter social distancing rule for inland. Globally, more than 463,000 people have died as a result of the new coronavirus, according to data compiled by Johns Hopkins University. For Channel 1 News, I am Emily K. Bade.
Now let's have a look at what's happening in the counties. And police in Mandera are holding 2 people in connection with the consignment of bang worth an estimated 800,000 shillings. Mandera East Sub-County Police Commander Richard Munga says the illegal consignment, believed to have originated from Moyale, was seized in Mandera town. All details of this and other highlights in the County News Roundup.
It was the end of the road for 2 suspects after police, acting on intelligence information, arrested them in Mandera town in possession of 130 kilograms of bang. Mandera East Sub-County Police Commander Richard Munga warning that drug abuse has been on the rise in the region and was ruining the lives of the youth.
Na tunaomba vijana wa Mandera wajiepushe kwa hii mambo ya bangi. Hii pia bangi inachangia mambo ya uhalifu.
And police in Kitengela are investigating an incident where a young woman was found murdered and her body dumped a few meters away from her house. Area residents suspect that the heinous act was carried out by her lover, who is currently on the run. According to eyewitness accounts, the suspect enlisted the services of a border operator who helped him drop off a luggage in the forest, which later turned out that it was the lifeless body of the missing woman.
Mmoja alikuwa amebeba huyo maiti, alafu huyo jamaa pikipiki akamuuliza, kwani tunaenda aje? Pesa unilipi, si unilipe pesa. After kusema hivyo akamwambia, aya nishikie huyu mzigo nikutolee pesa. After kuchukua hiyo mzigo sasa amtolee pesa, akamwachanisha na akatoroka akaenda.
Elsewhere, sugarcane farmers have welcomed the Crops Regulation 2020 as stipulated in the Kenya Gazette Supplement number 84, issued as a special issue on the 27th of May, the year 2020, by Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture Peter Munga. The farmers under the Kenya National Alliance of Sugarcane Farmers Organization say the new measures will enable them, among other things, promote contractual farming, which will see sugarcane farmers engage the highest bidders in the terms preferred miller and not zoning.
The regulations have been long in coming into being. From 2002, it has taken this handshake business to have them gazetted. And to that, we are happy and we want to protect these regulations. We want to defend them, that they are in the interest of the farmers. There may be 1 or 2 other areas that perhaps still may require engagement. And on that note, we still will engage.
And 174 families settled on the Muhu farm by the government after the 2007-2008 post-election violence 12 years ago are appealing for well-wishers to support them build decent houses. Members of the families living in makeshift houses on the 1,500-acre land in Nyandarua County say with the ongoing rains in the region, cold-related upper respiratory tract infections have become common among them and have led to the death of some of the 66 residents on the farm.
Lengo letu na hitaji letu kubwa ni kugawiwa hili shamba ili tuweze kukaa na njia nzuri kama wanadamu. Sisi tunajidharau kabisa, tunajua kweli sisi ni wana Kenya.
Elsewhere, the family of former Lands Commissioner Ellis Chesina are mourning his death after he passed on while undergoing treatment at Nairobi Hospital. Chesina, who is also husband to Susan Chesina, who vied unsuccessfully for the Baringo Women Representative and Director at Kerio Valley Development Authority and was once Deputy Land Commissioner in Nairobi, succumbed to diabetes at the age of 76.
Tunasema asante, mzee alikuwa wa kila mtu, akuchagua kabila, akuchagua rika, akuchagua kama mtu ni tajiri ni maskini, alijiweka tu kwa level hiyo na akawa ana accommodate kila mtu kwa roho yake.
Finally, Oljoro Orok Member of Parliament Michael Mushiro has raised concern over what he says is the lack of sound policies to help learners study during the coronavirus pandemic period. Speaking while distributing learning materials to pupils from Kianjata Primary in Gatimu Ward, Mushiro said that it was disheartening to see a majority of learners losing out since they cannot access online and broadcast learning lessons due to lack of electricity and data.
Make use of this time not to engage in anything that will destroy your life, but do something profitable. Uwe unasema wakati wa kulikuwa na corona, mimi nilisoma vizuri na ndivyo nimepita mtihani wangu kwa njia nzuri. Isn't it?
Yusuf Farah, Channel 1 News.
Top on Channel 1.
Elgon Thabiti Fertilizers, the Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock, Fisheries, Cooperatives and partners of the National Farmers Awards congratulate our 2019 winners.
I could get a professional research company, but I trust real, everyday people more.
I want the world for you. You have to believe that. Tutatoa hiyo pesa.
And lazima kilio sorry. Nabonga about health ya mtu wetu.
To all the winners, we celebrate your valued efforts in feeding the nation and wealth creation. You are our soil heroes.
People who choose to read their Bible daily, they become wiser and they become stronger than the people who don't read their Bibles. So when you choose hard, difficult things, you become a natural leader. He brings us to church to introduce to us another higher level of relationship that is called a faith relationship. You are also a solution to somebody else's problem. You cannot be the only problem all the time.
Join Pastor Jimmy Masharia on The Master's Touch this Sunday from 8 a.m. on KBC Channel 1.
On the next episode of Behind Closed Doors.
Go of me! Guard, please bring me my notebook, please.
What's with you, Pilar? For several days, I've seen you acting strange, different, distant. You have a different attitude.
Pilar is a murderer. The one living in your house with your children. Is it your wife, Javier?
majina naitwa Richard Njuki. Nachezea Wazalendo Masters. Pia mimi ni mchezaji wa national team. Niko nataka kusema asante kwa government kwa kutukumbuka kwa hii time. Ni ngumu sana kukaa home hivyo. Wametukumbuka kwa hiyo pesa kidogo wametupatia. Niko nataka kusema tu asante.
Welcome back. Now, moving on to stories making headlines in the world of sports. International Olympic Committee President Thomas Bach has issued a rallying call to all athletics fans to join athletes from all over the world for a day full of live athlete-led virtual home workouts as the world gets ready to take part in Olympic Day celebrations on Tuesday, June 23rd. Olympic Day was established in 1948 and is celebrated to promote participation in sport regardless of age, gender or athletic ability, as well as being an opportunity to celebrate the Olympic values around the world. Well, we shall be bringing you all those updates in regards to Olympic Day. Once again, celebrated. This year's celebrations will be held on June 23rd. That is next week on Tuesday. Now, moving on, the Confederation of African Football, CAF, still wants a January start for the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations in Cameroon, despite ongoing uncertainty about the continent's football as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. Cameroon is the sixth worst affected country in Africa by the pandemic, with nearly 10,000 reported cases.
Football because of coronavirus. Unclear when many competitions will resume across the continent, where only a handful of leagues are operating. The tournament in Cameroon is shrouded in doubt. CAF itself has yet to confirm a restart date for any of its own tournaments amidst the pandemic, with Cameroon the sixth worst affected country in Africa, with nearly 10,000 reported cases. 4 of the 6 rounds of Nations Cup qualifying are yet to take place. Rounds 3 and 4 of qualifying should have been played in March, with the penultimate round in early June and the final round between 31st August to 8 September. Should the Nations Cup be moved, it would be the third time the tournament has changed dates, after its original January-February 2021 date was rescheduled for June-July 2021, after CAF finally chose against playing in the middle of the European season. Earlier this year, CAF moved the tournament back to January-February, which it said was because of Cameroon's climatic conditions, while others pointed to a timing clash with the Club World Cup. That FIFA tournament has now been moved back to 2022, which is when CAF might schedule the Nations Cup, as 2021 fills up with delayed 2020 competitions, such as the Olympics and European and South American Championships. The women tournament is also at risk. The expanded 12-team tournament was originally scheduled to kick off in November, but so far not one of the 36 entered teams has played a qualifier, while CAF is still to have a host nation after original host Congo withdrew. CAF is also undecided over the scheduling for major competitions, such as the 2020 Africa Nations Championships CHAN and the 2022 World Cup qualifiers. CHAN was said to have taken place in April, while the World Cup qualifiers had been scheduled to start in October, a month when the Nations Cup qualifying is now set to take precedence. One of the earliest tournaments CAF could restart is its Africa Club competition, with the return of the Champions League and Confederations Cup mooted for as early as July, or perhaps more likely September.
Now, Neil Mopay scored a stoppage time winner as relegation threatened Brighton clinched a huge 2-1 win over Arsenal, who once again lost the key player, that is goalkeeper Leno, to injury. Watford drew 1-1 with Leicester City in the other English Premier League match played today. In Germany, Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich were among the big winners of the day. Well, here's a collated result of today's matches. Now, defender Yerry Mina, Fabian Delph and forward Theo Walcott are among a couple of big names that Everton will have to do without when they host Liverpool tomorrow at Goodison Park. Everton are winless in 18 Premier League games against the Reds, who only need 2 wins to wrap up the 2019-2020 EPL title. Let's have a look at what to expect tomorrow from major leagues all over Europe. Also, Newcastle United head coach Steve Bruce has confirmed that 6 players whose contracts or loan spells were due to expire at the end of the month have committed themselves to the club until the end of the season. Danny Rose, Nabil Bentaleb and Valentino Lazaro had been due to return to their parent clubs imminently, while Andy Carroll, Matty Longstaff and Javier Manquelo's contracts at St James Park only had days left to run. Longstaff won't be involved against Sheffield United on Sunday, as he has not trained in recent days due to injury. But Bruce believes he could still have an important part to play between now and the end of the season. The Blades' 0-0 draw with Villa saw them climb to 6 as Chris Wilder's men seek a strong finish to a fantastic first year back into the top flight following promotion from the Championship last season. And in France, stadiums are set to reopen from 11th July as the country continues to lift coronavirus restrictions. Up to 5,000 fans will be allowed in arenas to watch live sport, a figure that may increase later in the summer. It means football's French Cup and League Cup finals could be played in front of supporters after both were postponed to a date yet to be decided because of the pandemic. The League 1 and 2 seasons were cancelled in April. In April, Prime Minister Edouard Philippe put a blanket ban on all sports until September, but collective sports can now resume as from Monday. And finally, the US Open organizers have promised to look at ways the wheelchair competitions can take place this year, following criticism about how the initial removal from the schedules was handled. Paralympic champion Gordon Reid, a 4-time winner in the men's doubles at Flushing Meadows, and Dalen Alcott, who won the 2015 as well as the 2018 wheelchair singles titles at Flushing Meadows and who is the reigning doubles champion, are among those who expressed their displeasure at the announcement. The International Paralympic Committee was also critical of the decision, with President Andrew Parsons saying the USTA should not be using the coronavirus pandemic as an excuse to discriminate against a group of players. Well, that brings us to the end of Channel One Weekend with me, Richard Munga. But just an update, a few minutes ago, actually around 10 minutes ago, we had another EPL match kicking off. That is Bournemouth, which is placed 17th on the log, taking on Crystal Palace, placed 11th on the log, a difference of 7 points. And, well, we shall be giving you all the updates and the results in the subsequent bulletins, especially tomorrow's 1 p.m. news. Well, a sign language interpreter has been Byron Abuli. And remember, for more news and updates, log on to our website, www.kbc.co.ke. Once again, thanks for your company and do enjoy the rest of your viewing. Well, first up, we have Irene Muchoma with the weather forecast. Have a good night.
Good evening. Hope you had a good Saturday. A very warm welcome to Channel 1 Weather Updates. My name is Irene Mchuma Odim. The capital is experiencing scattered showers. Lake Basin region, western parts of the country, and the northwestern parts of the country are currently experiencing showers accompanied by thunderstorms over a few places. This, as the rest of the country is experiencing partly cloudy conditions, and that is how it will be for the rest of the night. Sunday, it will rain in Marsabit. The capital, Nyeri and Meru, will be cool and cloudy. This, as the rest of the country experience sunny conditions. In the afternoon, the rain intensity at the Lake Basin region will increase compared to what we experienced today. Kisii, Kakamega, Bungoma, Eldoret, moving all the way to a few areas over the northwestern parts of the country will experience showers accompanied by thunderstorms. The northeastern parts of the country, the southeastern lowlands, and the coastal strip will experience sunny conditions. Temperatures in the capital will range between 24 degrees Celsius and 15 degrees Celsius. The highest temperatures across the country will be experienced in Mandera at 36 degrees Celsius, and for you in Mombasa, expect maximum of 29 degrees Celsius and 23 degrees Celsius. And on that note, let's now cross the borders and see how it will be in other parts of the world. Do have a good night and a positive day. Thank you.